Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Indigo Diamond here with another video. Here to talk about the latest episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 7 All Winners season. God, that's still a mouthful. We are essentially at the semi-final. After this episode, we know who our top 4 are that are lip-syncing for the title of Queen of All Queens. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and tell me down below who are you rooting for. For me, I am still Team Jinx all the way. That's not going to change. It hasn't changed this entire season, and it's not going to change now. So let's get into the episode. So today was a variety show. It was the Drag Race Gives Back variety show. Variety show. It was fantastic. I mean, like every episode this season's been fantastic, but this was a really good episode. It was nice to see kind of queens come on, just do their thing and kind of be like, yep. So each of the queens had a charity that they were, that the money that they would have got, well, so the top 2 lip sync as normal, and then they get their $10,000 tip, and then the person that wins the lip sync also gets a load of money sent. Was it? Some money sent to the charity that they've picked. Essentially, it was nice to see. It was nice to, because the queens essentially got to have a little Tic Tac lunch with Rue and Michelle, and it was nice that each person got asked what their charity was and essentially a bit about it. That was quite nice. A lot of black charities, a lot of trans charities, and also one for making I can't think of the word, things like tampons and that more accessible for women and people that need that sort of thing. One thing I will say I did quite like is the fact that Jinkx, as a white queen, was promoting a black charity. Because it's one of those things you don't really get a lot. And obviously this isn't me going, oh my god, well done Jinx, you did amazingly, you know, that's why you deserve to win, or, you know, that's just what we need from you. Because, you know, the injustice with race and that is something that's, unfortunately I don't see going away anytime soon, if at all. As much as it should never have been a thing. So it's just nice to have a queen that's not of colour, you know, promoting a charity like that, and I hope it's something we see more of in the future. So yes, so the queens had their chats with Rue and Michelle, and then it came time for the variety show. Now, there was a lot of sort of like lip syncing to their own songs and sort of stuff like that. I'll go through them like queen by queen if I can see and remember who they are. So we'll go through Jaida first. So Jaida did a lip sync to one of her own original songs. She looked great. It was a good song. You know, they had some references to the look over there, confusion. The outfit she had a 12 on with a crown on top because she won season 12. You know, it was good. Excuse me. It was a good lip sync. I enjoyed it. It was great. Moving on, next we've got Jinkx. Now, Jinkx sung live, which is what Jinkx does. It was great singing. It was comical in places. Yeah, all in all, it was Jinkx going, "This is what I do." Which is, you know, it's a variety performance. It's kind of what you want to do. You want to be like, this is what I do at my gigs. If you come and see me, this is what you can expect. Up next is, I can't see, I'm going to say that's Monet. Monet Exchange. Now, Monet didn't do something that she would normally do at a gig, but she did do something that she is trained for. She did a opera. She sang opera. And honestly, when Monet started singing it, I was like, okay, Monet, one of my top 2 for the week. It's like that. That is it. Like, it was so well done. And opera is obviously one of those things that's very hard to do. That's why you train for it. And not only to be doing opera, but to be doing opera in a corset and just sound that beautiful. I was sat there and I was like, honestly, if I went to see Monet exchange at a show and she came out and did opera, I'd be happy. I'd be like, yep, I'm good with this. I paid money and I'm getting a great show. And yeah, you know, it was nice to see something like that, because it was singing, but it's not the sort of singing that you're used to from like a drag queen. You know, usually they're sort of like either like the musical theatre things, sort of like Jinkx did, or, you know, they're more dancey, that sort of side. So it was nice to see something so different and something that is so unique to Monet, because she did train for this. So yes, Monet did end up in one of the top 2 spots, and I was like, good, because I probably would have been very annoyed otherwise, because I think it was just so good. It was just so different that it just had to be. Up next, we've got Raja. And now Raja did was it a Polynesian temple dance? It was a temple dance. I can't remember if it was Polynesian or not. Was it Polynesian? Maybe Polynesian. This was, I love this because it was just so different, and again, it was so unique to Raja, because like in this sort of thing, I think a lot of us would have been maybe like, oh, what would Raja do for like a talent show? And there was this beautiful story behind why Raja decided to do this dance. About, you know, there was a story with her dad, who has now sadly passed away, and this was apparently his favourite story to say about Raja, that, you know, there was this one time where they were at an airport, Raja went missing, they were trying to find her again, and she was like on some suitcases doing like this sort of dance, and I thought that was just, bless, Raja got really emotional at this point, and I think it was just nice to be able to see that sort of like really vulnerable side of her. And it was nice to see her do something so different and sort of so out of the box. You know, again, it was like when Gia Gunn did her like kabuki talent show for All Stars 4. That was really good, and I really enjoyed that. And this was another one of those things where it's like, I just loved that it was so different. It's not something we would usually see. And it was nice that Raja was doing something from like her heritage in that. It was just very nice. Up next, we've got Shea Coulee. Now, Shea Coulee, we know Shea Coulee can do great things. As soon as like 5 seconds into her performance, I was like, this is my other top 2. You know, so yeah, she was doing an original song. You know, she had the microphone and she was doing all these really nice dance moves. She was keeping up with the dancers. The song was great. The dancing was great. All in all, it was so good that I was like, this and Monet's just has to be the top 2. It was the top 2, and I was very glad about that. I was like, I think I would have been very, very disappointed if that hadn't have been the top 2, because they were just so good. Up next, I cannot see who that is. Who have we got left? Trinity. It's going to be Trinity next. Again, Trinity lip synced to an original song. It was good. I think Trinity went up first, actually. Yeah, it was good. It was fine. You know, she lip synced to the song, and then at the end she got drenched. So that was nice to see. I mean, I suppose you don't usually necessarily see drag queens getting drenched, because, you know, they're worried about everything. So it was fun, and I think that's something, again, that Trinity's lent into a lot this season, is just how fun she is. It's just been great to see, so it was a very good performance. Up next is the Vivian. I'm going to do the Vivian next, I can't remember. And I can't see. Vivian performed a cover of a song, which she does have out, like, as her singing it, Bitch on Heels. Now, she sounded good. She didn't do much in the way of movement. It was fine. I think for me, I was kind of like, well, maybe would have done like a new song or something. Like Shea did a new song, Jaida did a new song. I mean, Monet did opera, so, you know, it's not like she could have written an opera or something. And this was released, like, what, last year or the year before or something? Now, in my head, I'm sat there going, oh, you know, maybe she got this song, and then she was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to do this on this. But then at that point, I'm like, maybe release the song closer to when you're actually going to do it, because now it's just like, oh, yeah, she did that song. She's not done much in the way of singing. Like, Vivian goes on about how, like, you know, she's a singer and she, you know, does like comedy and stuff like that. Since being on Drag Race the first time, she's released what? 2 songs? No, 3 songs. 3 songs. And I just think about things like, I know you shouldn't compare queens, but like Vivian won, and yet someone like Davina, she's done her own album, she's done a Christmas album, she's done an album with the Frock Destroyers, and she's just recently released another of her own songs, and it's like that's a lot. And Vivian's done 3 songs, not even an album, 3 songs. I don't know. I don't know if maybe Vivian she's not focusing on singing as like what she does. But like so much of what she's been doing, like coming up has been like singing. I don't know. It's one of those things. I just maybe would have tried to do like a new, not like it could have still been a cover, but like a new cover rather than like an older cover. I don't know. It just seemed a bit odd to me. I would have done, yeah, a different song, I think, but it's just me, I guess. But yeah, it was good. It was fine. I enjoyed the song. It didn't blow me away, but it was good. You know, I would have been happy if I'd gone to a drag show and she'd come out and she'd done that. Up next is Yvie Oddly. Now, Yvie had quite an emotional episode as well this episode, so her performance was quite good. It was quite unexpected. So she guy came out with a box, and you kind of thought the person pulling the box along was Yvie, but then he unlocked the box and Yvie came out of the box. So that was quite good. And then, you know, she did a lot of her bendiness all throughout the number. And during the critiques, Yvie said that this performance was sort of like a love letter to all the things she's been able to do that she's rapidly losing the skills for. And I will say, I think it's easy to forget the issues that Yvie has, and I'm very guilty of forgetting the issues that she has, because, you know, Yvie's one of those people, she doesn't bring it up. You know, when she has the issues, yeah, you know, she'll bring it up because you're having the, you know, if you're having the issue at that point, you're going to be bringing it up. But I think it's just so easy to forget that, yeah, she is rapidly losing all these skills. And so I think it's got to be hard, because if you're so used to being a drag queen that does a certain thing, you know, and then you've got to try and almost go in a different direction because of the fact that your body's getting to the point where you aren't able to do those skills. And I think it was a great decision to do that in this episode, because at the end of the day, you know, if it does get, I don't know, however many years down the line and then she can't do all that stuff, you know, she can always look back, or other people can look back on these things and be like, look, this is what she was able to do back then. Wasn't that amazing? And, you know, maybe it's just so different from what she is doing at that point, because obviously she's not able to. So, I don't know. It's sad, but I'm glad that she was able to do it. So, I've already told you who the top 2 were, Monet and Shea. Now, the top 2 this week earn 3 stars each, which means Monet now has 5 stars and Shea now has 4 stars, which means Monet, Shea and Jinkx, they're the top. But we've still got 1 space. But the problem is, that 4th spot, there's a tie, because Trinity and Jaida both have 3 stars. Now RuPaul turns to Monet and go, you've got the most stars. pick who's going to be the fourth person in the lip sync. Now, I sat there and I went, it's between Jaida and Trinity. Monet's picking, it's going to be Trinity. And it was. But after watching the episode, I thought about it and I went, well, hang on a minute. Let's think about this differently. Yes, Monet and Trinity had an alliance, and that's probably the main, and they obviously both won All Stars 4 together. Probably the main reason Monet picked Trinity. But if we look at statistics for Jaida and Trinity, Jaida had 3 stars. 1 was given to her by Jinx, so she only had 2 stars that she earned. If we look at Trinity had 3 stars. She earned all 3 of those stars, and if she hadn't been blocked 1 week, she would have had 4 stars. So for me, if you look at it in that respect, I feel like Trinity was not, I don't want to say correct or cool, but it makes sense why they would pick Trinity at that point as well. Even discarding the fact that they're twinners and they had an alliance. Now, I love Jaida to pieces. I'm really sad that Jada's not going to be in the lip sync finale, but I can understand why, for more than just the alliance and that, Monet would have picked Trinity. Now, the 4 queens that aren't in the lip sync for the crown don't get next week off. The 4 remaining queens get to compete for a £50,000 tip and the title of She Done Already Done Had Herses. My foot's trying to cramp and that's really not helpful. Which is nice. I think it's nice that they still get to compete and do something for this episode rather than just kind of sit there. So we've got Raja, the Vivian, Yvie Oddly and Jaida Essence Hall going to be competing for the title of She Done Already Done Had Herses. It's going to be nice that we're literally just going to get an episode of lip syncs. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to get that one. It's also going to be interesting to see who actually wins the season. I still want it to be Jinx. It's lip syncing and she's got to potentially go up against Monet, Trinity the Tuck and Shea Coulee. I don't know what's going to happen. Obviously it's very dependent on songs, it's dependent on everything else, but I still want Jinx to win. I love the other 3 so much, but I don't know, Jinx just always has held such a special place in my heart ever since I saw her on season 5, and I would just love so much to see her win. And she's just been so consistent throughout the season, apart from the design challenges, all season long she's just done well. So yes, let me know down below, who are you rooting for? Are you team Jinx? Are you team Monet? Are you team Shea? Or are you team Trinity? Got 4 people to win, and who do you want to win the 50,000? I kind of want it to be the Raja or Jaida that win the 50,000, but we'll see what happens. We'll see next week when it comes to an end what will happen. But yeah, tell me down below who you're rooting for. While you're down there, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you lovely people next time. See ya!